Hi, my name is Erin Swenlin from DecisionPoint.com, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to use predefined scans and how to use those to jumpstart your own scans. So we've got a packed, we have it packed here, so let's just get right into it. So I'm going to talk to you about predefined scans. I'll just give you an introduction as to what those actually are. Then we're going to look at how you can create your own scans separate from predefined scans. And then I'm going to show you how you can use predefined scans and modify them. So if you're not really comfortable coming up with your own scan code, you can start by using the predefined scan and then maybe tweaking it and adding the few things that you want to it. And then, of course, once you get all these scan results, you need to know how to sift through them. So I'm going to show you some of the quick ways that I do it. At DecisionPoint.com, I have the DecisionPoint Diamonds report. And basically what I'm doing is using my own exclusive scans to come up with my scan results so that I can pick the 3 to 5 stocks for the day as far as my stock picks go for DecisionPoint Diamonds. So this is exactly how I use the scan engine for myself to get those DecisionPoint Diamonds. So let's go ahead and jump right in. What are predefined scans? So StockCharts already has scans that are built in that you can go to and use. I'll show you how to find them, and then we're going to run a few of them. So let's go first over to the handy dandy dashboard on StockCharts.com. And what we want to do is find those predefined scans. So if you just go over to the member tools, this is where I usually find it, and you scroll down to reports and more, you'll find predefined scans. So I'm just going to click here. And here are all the different scans that StockCharts already has running, has available to you. And quite a few, obviously, there are the bullish ones, the bearish ones, and basically you can also come down and see scans that are based on candlestick patterns, elder bar, etc., point and figure. There are numerous scans out there in that scan engine that you can use that you don't even have to come up with the scan code for. So what we're seeing on this is, of course, all of these different scans, and they've already actually been run for you. So let's just take one, for example, let's look at new 52-week highs. Now you can see that the total is over here. This tells you that from yesterday to today, there are 82 more that are hitting new 52-week highs. So we have 82 extra stocks in here that we didn't have yesterday. Then they break it down into the different groups. So if you wanted to just look, for example, at the London exchange, you can click here and you'll get just those London grouping here. You can go back, you can decide, okay, well, I want to look at the ones that are in the NASDAQ. So let's go ahead and do that. So notice we have 98 entries here in our predefined scan results. And you can, of course, sort it by sector, which is something I like to do. And you can also sort it by industry group. You can sort it by scooter value. I mean, there are various ways that you can do this and determine, what type of stocks do you really want to see. So these are predefined scans. That's where they are. But let's go back because we're not done yet. So we now know how to find them, we know how to run them, but let's just create our own scan in our head, something that we want to do just for ourselves before we start talking about the predefined scans a little bit more. So really, you really need to sit down and just decide in a paragraph form or however you find it easier, what is it that you really want to find in your scan? Do you want large caps? Do you want US stocks? Do you want various indicators that are set up in a certain way? All of these things you kind of will come up with in paragraph form is a good way to start. Sort of like a word problem, only it's not really a word problem. So we have small and mid cap stocks with a 20-day moving average of their daily volume above 200,000. I want a US stock. I want a stock that's between $10 and $500 a share. And I also want it to be trading above these 20, 50, and 200-day EMAs. So let's put this in a little bit more understandable way to do it. So the first thing is, right, we want to know that it's a US stock. We want to know that its volume is more than 200,000. So we're putting this kind of in our scan code in a way right now, just by breaking it down. Price should be greater than 10, price should be less than 500, and price should be greater than these EMAs. So, oh my gosh, where do we start? Well, let's go back to our scan workbench. So you can just start right here if you're just coming up with your own scan. Now, it may seem a little bit overwhelming when you see this blank page and you see all of these components and how do you really put these together? Well, the nice thing is that StockCharts immediately starts you out with something that you want, which is you want a stock. And you want the 20-day simple moving average of volume to be greater than, in this case, they said 40,000, but you know what? We want to do more than that. In our example, we set up that it had to be more than, I can't remember what I put down there now, 200,000, I believe. There we go. So we want that volume on them. Now, remember the next thing we said was we want it to be a US stock. So you can come in here and use these drop downs that are already set up for you. So ticker properties, we want the type. We already said it's going to be a stock. That's already in there, but we want the country in here. So we're just going to add, boom, I clicked add, and now it's in here. So country is US. That's what it automatically will default to. All right, so we wanted it to also be a small or a mid-cap stock, right? So again, we can come down here and look at the different ways that we can set these up. That's not where we want to be though. Okay, we are looking for the type to be, there you go, that's the scooters. We don't want scooters. Indexes. This tells us where we want it to be. So we want it to be a mid-cap stock. We can add that, right? So we add, and we want it to be a small cap stock. One or the other. So we've added these, and there you go. Your group is S&P 400. Your group is S&P 600. Well, there's a big problem here, isn't there? Because it can't be in both. So we need to, we need to fix that. We need an and or type of situation. So we can put here that or the group is the S&P 600. Now, what was the other thing? We wanted the price to be greater than $10. Well, this is getting really easy here now, right? So we want the close, and we want it to be greater than $10. So we'll put that in here. And then we also wanted it to be less than $500. So we'll just come in here. You got your close. We're going to add it. And we want it to be greater than $500. All right, what's our next piece of code? Well, we want the price to be above those 20, 50, and 200-day EMAs. So again, so price, and we want to look for, let's see, forgive me. I have all of these already built, so a lot of times it's hard for me to look at these. Okay, so we want the EMA, it's a technical indicator. So we want those EMAs, we want the close to be greater than the EMA. So we have the 50-day EMA, and we're not looking for volume on it, we're looking for the price. So we want the close, and we want it to be greater than the 50-day EMA, right? So we want it to be, let's see, so price, the close, it should be, oh my goodness. We're gonna have to probably do this part over again. We'll see. All right, so we want to find these. I actually have one already set up here so that I don't have to remember those codes. So we're gonna look at this one right here, and this will help you out. Okay, so I'm gonna take the advanced editor off. That'll make it easier to see. All right, so I put in my comments what I'm looking for. So there you go. Country is US, close is above 10. That's what we were talking about. Daily volume. This time, in this case, it's above 50,000. I used my PMO, so we're going to skip looking at that. But we want it to be 50-day EMA should be higher than the 200. So there you go. And then the stock, I have this one where it has a crossover, but we're not going to do that. We're just looking at the close being greater than the EMAs or the EMA being greater than the other. So these are some of just the simple ways that you could come up with these scans, but it's very complicated, right? This is very complicated, trying to figure out your own scan. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but if you're brand new to scanning, this is pretty difficult. So let's go ahead and go back and talk about how you can use a predefined scan. This makes it so much easier because, as you saw, there's all these different things to come up with your own scan, but this is a way to just get it started. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to where our predefined scans were. And again, you can get to that from the dashboard right here. So we're going to come down to predefined scans. There you go. All right. So now we're looking at all of the indicators for today. And I just updated it. So we were talking about new 52-week highs, correct? So we're going to look at all of the results from the NYSE. There's 31. But what I want to talk about is how to modify this particular scan for yourself. You don't have to just have exactly what's here. Maybe you only want US stocks and you don't care what exchange it's on. This is where we go right here. Click here to edit this scan. The workbench looks familiar, does it not? Here's that scan code already there for you. So it's already telling you the stock, it's telling you the exchange, which I already know I don't really care about. I want it to just be in the US. So it's a stock. It has a daily simple moving average above 40,000 in this case. And the daily high is greater than yesterday's daily high, which is the max. So we're talking about 52-week highs, correct? So we already know this is going to find for us a stock with that volume with the new 52-week high. But I think I want to just make this a little narrower. Let's just look at new 52-week highs amongst a certain industry group or a sector. So let's look and see in cyclicals or consumer discretionary. We're going to add that. Now we're saying that all of this must be true, which is, remember, we're trying to find new 52-week highs, but we want to only do it with the cyclical sector. So we've now got the original predefined scan, and now we can add what we want to the scan. And in this case, I just added that the group is the cyclicals. So I'm going to run the scan. It's going to take me right to what there is. So currently 6 stocks, US stocks on any exchange are right now seeing new 52-week highs. So now you can just go in and take a peek at the chart, see what's going on. Really nice breakout here for Yum China Holdings. We know it's making a new 52-week high because that's what it came out on the scan engine here. All right, so I've given you kind of the basics on how to modify a predefined scan. I've showed you kind of how you can create a new scan. But the problem is, right, when you run some of these scans, you get a lot of results. And I get a lot of results every day on my diamond scans. So I have to figure out amongst all of those, which 3 to 5 stocks do I want to present to my readers. So I actually already ran a scan, one of my bullish EMA's mid-range scooter scan, and I ended up with 68 results. Now I could just look through here and determine what I want to look at just by sector, industry group, scooter, whatever it is. But I'm trying to narrow down 68 stocks down to 3. So I need a way to really see them quickly and, just mark them off and get rid of them or find the ones that look good. So what I recommend is creating a chart list, a transient chart list is what I call it. And basically, it's something where you can dump these scan results in, know that every time you run a scan, you can just dump it in that same chart list. You just have to remember that, of course, you are now looking at all of these stock results, scan results, and now you have to figure out what makes them better than the other. And the only way you can really do that, in my opinion, is using a candle glance. So I'm going to first save this to a transient chart list. And remember, know that when you're using it, it's not somewhere you want to store anything that you want to keep, because you're just always going to use it over and over. I actually borrowed from Greg Schnell, and I created what I call a chart list is called scan dump. So every time I get scan results, I just dump them into this chart list. And I know that if I want to save a chart, or if I like a chart, I need to put it somewhere else, because this chart list is always going to change. I'm always going to just dump in my scan results. So now I've saved them. And here are all those 68 stocks and ETFs that came up for my particular scan. But I want to see them all very quickly. You can do 10 per page, but again, flipping through 10 big charts, it's just too hard to come up and be able to compare them. So I love to use the candle glance function. I have created my own candle glance chart style. And these are very easy to do. Just, you create your chart style on StockCharts.com. There's certainly information on how to create a chart style. Once you've created it, you just need to make sure you save it as candle glance. And if you save it as candle glance, then you're going to always see this chart style whenever you pull up a candle glance. So I like to have my 20, 50, and 200-day EMAs, and I like to have my PMO on the bottom. And then, of course, price. This is a 6-month price chart. So this gives me a quick view. I mean, what do we see, 15 of them right here just on my screen. And we can just flip through all of these very quickly. This may seem a little overwhelming, but honestly, it's not, because it's very easy to go through and just know, no, don't like it. Nope, don't like it. So the first thing you want to do is, what I do is I kind of am glancing for a PMO that has an oversold signal, or it's getting ready to turn. So these aren't really that oversold here. And so I would just say, no, that's not interesting to me. This one's on a nice buy signal, but it's been on that buy signal for a while. So I probably want to find something else that's not quite so, not so far into its move. I'm also looking at chart patterns and price movement. I'm looking at where the price is in conjunction with its 20 or its 50-day EMA. And so these are the things I'm going to be paying attention to as I go through. And obviously, I do this every day, so I'm pretty quick at it. I don't expect any of you to be this quick as far as just picking out what you like. You can go through and you can just, so I said I didn't want this one, so I can delete that one. I don't want that one, so I can delete that one. I said I didn't want that, so I'm going to delete that. At this point, here's one that still looks kind of interesting, possible flag formation. So I kind of like that setup. PMO's been on a run too long. So I'm just basically, I can look through these and find the ones that look interesting to me. So for example, this looks great, right? A new PMO buy signal, but the price, I don't see anything great going on in price here. I don't see it breaking out. It's in a consolidation. It's barely staying above its 20 and 50-day EMAs. Don't want it. So I can just delete it there. So what are some of the ones here that I like? Well, I have to say Dropbox looks very interesting right now as far as our taping is concerned. Why? Just from the candle glance, I can see it's broken up above the 20 and 50-day EMAs. It's got a PMO that's getting a positive crossover. And now I would be looking for a breakout here. So Dropbox looks interesting. So I can come in here and I can take a closer look at it. Yep, got a nice positive RSI. You can see that when we look at this more closely, it's broken this declining trend. And then I like to go in and I compare what the scooter is. And then I like to also look at what the relative performance is. So This is the kind of chart that I present in my DP Diamonds, only of course I already have it marked up with stop levels and a description of chart patterns and that sort of thing in there. So what else looks interesting as I go through? Let's see, Edgewell looks kind of interesting just because it's consolidating right here on top of support. But the PMO is looking a little toppy, so I would get rid of that one. This looks interesting in that the PMO is just making its turn in oversold territory. And we can see price just got up above the 20 and 50-day EMAs. So I want to take a closer look at this. The RSI is positive, although just barely. It had a big down day today. So it did show up on my scan results. So everything is set up in a good way, I know, ultimately under the surface. So I already know that that's a good setup here. But I also know that software and technology right now, with the market being toppy, growth and technology, a lot of those stocks aren't doing so hot. They're not really the place to be right now. So I can come down though and double check relative performance. And I can see that the software industry group, it's starting to get a little bit of outperformance, but not quite. So again, now that I know that's not one that I want, and I can just click on the delete. So for me, the quick way to go through my scans is to just set up my candle glance, and then I can just quickly go through and see what stocks look really interesting. JetBlue looks very interesting right now. Airlines in general are. We started to see some outperformance on the airlines, and we can see that JetBlue is outperforming the S&P currently. Broke a rising trend, looks like a falling wedge. I mean, there's all kinds of good stuff on this chart. And so what I'll do is I'll write down what I like, and then I'll be ready to present it to everybody for my DP Diamonds. All right, so let's go and take a little bit of a move here back to our PowerPoint. So sifting through your scans, save your results to a transient chart list. Like I said, if you create a new chart list every time you get scan results, it's just you're gonna have way too many chart lists. It's gonna get very confusing. I recommend using this transient chart list method. Candle glance is the best way to go through sifting of your scans. And then also you can quickly determine what looks good. Remember, I'm looking at my indicators that I have on my candle glance, which is the PMO. Chart patterns are very important to me, so that's something that I'm looking at. I don't have it written down here, but price support and resistance, all of those things are what you would look for in the candle glance to help you really quickly sift through those scans. Wow, we're to the end here. I've covered pretty much everything that I wanted to cover. But I did want to let you know, if you're interested in more of what I do, you can check me out at DecisionPoint.com. I do the DP Alert, which is our overall market review, and DP Diamonds, that's where you're going to get those scan results and those stocks that I've managed to tease out of all of those results just for you, so that you can see which ones I like. And then, of course, I run my trading rooms. I got a free one on Monday. Just check us out at DecisionPoint.com to sign up, and you can learn more about how I trade and use my scans. And that's all I've got for you today.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.